To answer this question, let's do a little background on, first of all, what is a clause? A clause is something with a subject and a verb. An independent clause would have that and sound like it finishes. John jumped. A dependent would have a weak conjunction in the front. Since John jumped. Next, what is a modifier? A modifier would be a clause, except that it's missing the subject, the verb, or both. So needing shoes, John went to the mall. There, needing shoes is a modifier. John, who dates Tina, went to the mall. There, it's the middle part, who dates Tina. Or John went to the mall, a place famous for its sales. So in all three of these, John went to the mall is the main sentence, and the extra little part is the modifier. None of these extra parts have a subject and a verb both in them. So this part right here has an ing word, and ing words are by definition not verbs. Here, we don't have any subject in this part. There's no mention of John or he, and who doesn't count. It's not enough of a pronoun. And in this part here, there's no subject-verb combination. Where to have a subject-verb combination there, it would have to say something like, it is a place famous for its sales. So all three of those are modifiers. And we're talking about that here because this part is a modifier. Typically, these things happen. So we want to be comfortable with what that is so that we can make good decisions about it. Last but not least, if you want to join two independent clauses, then there are two correct ways to do that. You can have a semicolon, John jumped, semicolon, he fell, or a comma, fanboys, John jumped, comma, and he fell. Fanboys is for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. So we have the modifier in pink, then the real sentence starts. Underlines, scribbles, and notes left in the margins by a former book owner lower a book's value. So typically, these things lower the book's value. The next part is also an independent clause. When the former owner is a famous poet like Walt Whitman, such markings, known as marginalia, can be a gold mine to literary scholars. So now, being more specific, for the second part, you have a dependent clause in red here, followed by the independent clause in blue. But the point is that the purple part at the beginning of the sentence is sort of the first movement. It's the first sentence. That's one statement right there. And even though this red part is a dependent clause followed by an independent clause, it counts as its own entire movement. It really is a complete thing that could be its own sentence. So we need to separate right here as if we had two independent clauses with either a semicolon or a comma, fanboys. So this one here is perfect because there is also a contrast. So we have our comma, fanboys, B, but is the B in fanboys, and there is a contrast going on because typically these things lower the value, but if the person's famous, these things are a gold mine. So the answer here is A.